All right, so this is going to be chemistry, and obviously the class is going to be a combination of hybrid students who come in one day and are gone the next. And right now, there are virtual students here which will not come, they will never come in throughout the year, and so I'll never meet them. So that's going to be the big distinction. Now, there could be changes to the schedule because the virtual students were supposed to be pulled and put into a full virtual classroom with everybody in the room only being virtual. That has not happened. We don't know if that is going to happen or if it's not going to happen. So that's totally in the air. But we are going to, we're just going to proceed as if they're here. And then if they happen to get pulled, then they get pulled. And if they don't, well, you're here anyway. All right. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. That way you can watch this as I go. So you should all be able to see my screen. These are the people who are in the class. So my screen sharing is up. The comments are right here. But if you don't have comments yet, that's fine. We just started. So let's start with the class and how it's going to work. So it's pretty much going to be done out of this app here called Teams. Teams is part of Microsoft 365. You probably used it in the spring, but it's going to be a little bit different now. So most of the classwork is going to be done. Well, first, let's start with attendance. How do we do attendance for now? So for now, there's a post right here, which if you noticed, I deleted some people's posts because I've been trying not to clog up the attendance screen. But if you notice, nothing ever actually gets deleted. So be careful what you say on Teams. It will never fully disappear, even if you delete it. And then with this, what I want people who are in the class to reply to this one. So when I do attendance for online people, I'm just going to look at this. Okay, for now, I am going to switch to a program called Insights, which should show up. It's just, if you notice, this is super slow. So Insights is a program that I can use. I have to add it to every class. And the thing about Insights is, it's still waiting. So now I'm going to have an Insights tab, and you should all be able to see that on yours. What Insights lets me do is track student activity. So take a look. So if I look at my students in my class, these little bars tell me what they're doing and when they're doing it. So if we go to this person, just some random person I picked, we can see when they logged on. And if you notice, it'll even tell me what they did. So at 1 in the morning, someone accessed my file tabs. At 2 in the morning, they accessed file tabs. And then at noon, which was recently, they logged online and gave me 2 messages. So this allows me to track who logs in and for how long you're logged in and what you did while you were logged in. So if you just log in and do nothing, I'll also know that. Okay, so eventually I'm going to do attendance through this. I just haven't figured out how to fully use it properly yet. So attendance for right now is just going to be, at least this week, I should be able to get better at this as the week goes on. But for right now, I'm just going to have you, where is it? Right here. Just type your name into this specific chat and only this chat. So like if you look at these people up here, I'm not going to look at those. Okay, I only want, which is why I'm going to do this. I only want you to reply specifically to that post. So that way, when I go to do attendance, it is all in one spot and it won't clutter up the post feed or whatever you call it. Okay, so that's attendance. Now, for the classwork, let's look at this feature here. This is the notebook. So in the notebook, you're all going to have one. You're going to have, there's a little welcome thing I wrote for you. So you're going to see the welcome. You should see collaboration space. You should see a content library. I don't think there's anything in it. Yeah, there's nothing in it. Teachers only is for me. That's where I keep all my stuff. And then for yours, you should see tabs. So these are your homework, lab, notes, practice tests. You've got a couple tabs. I can add more or take more tabs away as I want for everybody. It's pretty simple. But the work is going to be done through this option. So the way it works is simple. If I'm going to give you an assignment, I'm going to show you how I assign something, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like on your end as well. So I'm going to give you 2 assignments today. So your first assignment is going to be the only problem is there's no they don't have like subfolders where you can organize this stuff very easily. So here's your assignment. It's loading. It's going to be for your class. I believe eventually I can assign it to all the classes at once just with a click, but I want to do each class one by one, at least in the beginning. We're going to have it due next Friday. And there's the assignment. And there's the instructions for the most part. And let's assign it, and then we're going to look at it. So the assignment is going to, when I view assignments, if you notice, just got to wait for it to load because all the teachers are using it. Okay, so we'll skip that. Let's look at student view. So what your assignment's going to look like is this. So here's the title, here's the instructions, here's the notebook. So you click this and it's going to bring you to your notebook. And in this assignment, this one is an intro assignment, so there's really nothing to do. It's an academic profile, it's a chemistry syllabus, and it's a safety contract. Now, the academic profile for hybrid students, what you're going to do is if you have a printer, okay, I would highly recommend if you can get a printer, I would get one. You don't have to, it's not necessary. But if you have a printer, definitely get a printer. You'll see why. It'll make your life much easier. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. I don't have one either. So academic profile. If you're home and you're hybrid, you would print this out, fill it out, bring it in, give it to me. It's just a basic info sheet. The same goes for the safety contract. You print it, fill it, you print your name here so it's clear and legible. You sign it and date it here, and then parent or guardian signs and dates it here. And then you bring that in when I see you next. If you are a virtual student, what you are going to have to do is you're going to have to fill it out either by using the notebook. So the way the notebook works, I can't do this because it's a student version. If you double click an area, it will open up a little text box that you can then type in. So you could double click right here, type your name in, double click right here, type my name in, and you could do the whole thing. And then, and that's it. It's that simple. And then you can turn that in to me as the assignment, or you could write everything out by hand and then take a picture of it and then turn that in, attach that to the assignment. For a form like this, I mean, whatever, it doesn't really matter, whatever's easier for you. Syllabus, this is going to be how I grade the class. We'll talk about that in a second. The same would go for this. You could print it out and then sign it, take a picture of it, or you could use the signature feature on your tablet, which you should eventually get, and you could sign it with a mouse, or if you can get a stylus, or if your screen is touchscreen, you can sign with your finger. So there's lots of different ways to do that. Okay, for the in-person kids, it's probably better, or the hybrid kids, it's better to just, for something like this, I would wait until I see you, take a copy, bring it home, bring it back. Okay, that's the easy way to do it. And I'm not, that's why I pushed the due date back until the end of next week. I don't really, care about this. This just is just paperwork. Okay, so this is your first assignment. Now, let's get to how I run the course. So how we're going to run the course this year is there's a digital textbook. You can click the link and look at it. It's pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not, but let's start with supplies. The supplies that you're going to need is going to be basically, you're going to want a binder, you're going to want some folders, some paper, some pens and pencils. That's all pretty standard. For a calculator, if you want to use your phone, you can, but having your own calculator might be better, but I'm not going to stress that. The only things you're going to need, and I can't add it here, I'm going to put this in the post for everybody, is you should get a pack of colored pencils and a ruler. The reason is I'm not allowed to hand those out. So when we do things that require coloring, if you don't have them with you, you're not going to be able to do any coloring. All right. And that's difficult. And if we do things that require a ruler, like graphing and drawing certain things, then you're not going to be able to do that because I won't have time to wipe down everything between every period. And so therefore I can't hand them out. So that's why supply-wise, that's what you really need. I'm going to give you a reference table. How we're going to do the class is pretty simple. Tests and quizzes are going to count as about 60% of your grade. While we are doing this hybrid thing, which could be the whole year, all of your tests and quizzes will be done on Castle Learning on your time. Okay, so in other words, the reason I'm doing this is because it's not fair for the students who are in class for me to give them a test and then give the students that happen to be at home that day or are fully virtual the same test when the kids in class are not going to have an internet and have the internet, computers, and everyone they want to ask ever, right? Whereas the kids who are home, it's basically open everything. And so it's just not fair. So the only way to make it fair is I'm going to do the tests and quizzes on Castle Learning. They will be timed. So once you open them, they will only open for a certain amount of time. The time will not be long. You will not know if you got the question right or wrong. And you will not be able to go back and look at old questions. Okay, and that's only for quizzes and tests because I'm trying to both prevent people from cheating and make it equitable for the kids that are in class versus the ones at home. So everyone's going to do it while they're at home anyway. Okay. For homework and stuff like that, I will also use Castle Learning, but those Castle Learnings will be, if you get the question wrong, you can try it again. You will get 50% on the retry. And if you don't like your grade on the assignment, you can redo the assignment grade. You can redo the assignment as many times as you need until you get the grade you want. So like I've had students who redo an assignment 5 times before they got the 90 that they wanted. And so you can do it that way. All right. The lab requirement, is really for a Regents class, so it doesn't really matter for you guys. This is a general class, so that's not a big deal for you. And then that's pretty much how I'm going to run the class. Now, the one thing I didn't like, and I don't know why this is happening, I'm hoping your view is different than mine, but my syllabus is only half the size. So an example would be if I were to go to my notebook and show you what that assignment looks like, and I don't know why this happened, but it's happened all day so far, is when I made the assignment, so teacher only, you get to see behind the scenes, my intro, it actually doesn't have, for some reason the file didn't copyright, but let's look at my syllabus. What I did was I combined these 3 files because OneNote doesn't like me assigning 3 separate files, so I had to put them all into one to assign it to you, but yet it didn't copy over. Don't know why. But so here's my syllabus. There's a whole second page right here. This is all extra, and it didn't show on the assignment. I don't know why. What I would recommend is try downloading the assignment and then looking at it in Word or online and see if you can see the whole thing. But extra help, it's pretty much you can, the reason I say by online appointment is because there's no after school buses that I know of, and I don't think there's really any extra help in person. So it's just going to have to be by a meet or a message or something like that, and we can try our best. Discipline, the big thing, don't worry about this. This is school stuff. It's going to be online stewardship is what they call it, or online etiquette. Just be careful. Remember, anything you say in these chats, it's going to be recorded. It can be retrieved. Be careful. Set a background because, you don't want, you may not want, like people seeing into your house. And so the school's going to want you to set a background. I think the school was supposed to have a pre-made background, like a Brentwood logo for everybody that was supposed to be fixed. So that way you didn't even have an option. The backgrounds were always there for both me and you. But for some reason, that hasn't happened yet. So here's some info on virtual learning and what's required. And then here's the difference between hybrid students, so students who come in every other day and how they hand in work, and full virtual students, which we still have. And so how they're going to hand in work. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give you another assignment, because now I'm going to give you an assignment that actually has some work behind it. So So I've got to modify this assignment a little because this is the old assignment that I gave in the spring. And now that we've learned a little bit more, I have it through so if you notice the file, I call it Math You Need to Pass Chemistry. Now, just be aware, that's really a title for my Regents classes. My Regents classes have to be able to do this math, otherwise they will not pass the class because they have a Regents, and about a third of the Regents grade, about 30% of the Regents grade is like pretty much pure chemistry math. So for them, it's a much bigger deal. For you guys, it's not as, for general, it's not as strict as that. You know, you're not guaranteed to fail the class just if you're having trouble with the math. But for Regents, it almost always works out that way, unfortunately. So there's my note. I'm going to remove these video notes. That was a link to my YouTube channel. I'm going to remove this document. And so this is all you're going to get on this one. And then we are going to make the due date next Friday again and assign it, and then we'll look through it. Okay, so here's the assignment. This should show up when you go to your notebook. It should show up in your classwork homework tab. So if you go to that tab, it should be there. And the thing about notes is you can actually write in those notes and it will save it for you. I will be able to see it, but it won't mess with my original copy. All right, so this is still taking some time. So let's look at the student view. So here's some directions: download and print the work. Again, you don't have to. Watch and complete the notes, that you should do. Practice problems and check answer keys, you should do that. CASEL Learning, there's no CASEL Learning yet because the classes are too in flux. So I'm not going to even put up a CASEL Learning yet until we have to have probably quizzes and stuff like that. So let's look at the assignment. So these things right here are images. These are the answer keys. So if you look, I took a picture of the answer key, and those are the answers to the math problems. So I don't really care about the answer. What I care about is how you get there. So if we open it up in the notebook, here is a video of me showing you how to do it step by step the whole way. All right. And so that step-by-step video, I'll play a little bit of it. If you wanted to open it on YouTube, you could. So here's a bigger view. This is in YouTube.
In this video, we're going to be talking purely about math, actually. This
and so let's fast forward a little.
This A that works for done, and then we get X alone.
So if you see, I'm showing you here how to do problem one, and I'm showing you step by step directions on how to do each one. This is what I will expect you to turn in as the work. Now, for the hybrid students, you're going to be doing it tomorrow in class. For the people I see, we're probably going to actually do this Friday and Monday because that's when everyone shows up. So Friday and Monday, you're going to be working on this in class. And when you are not in class, on the days that you are home, you should be working on it as well. That way, it should not be homework. You should be able to, between your class time at home and your class time in class, you should be able to get this done no problem. Okay, but you're going to watch this video. And then if we go back to Teams, you'll see underneath, here's the worksheet. Both pages, front and back. So now, in terms of doing the work, let's say you're home and you're going to start this work, which you should today, right? What you're going to do is you are going to write, if you have a printer, you could print it out. That would be great. Fine, but not necessary. Because what you can do is you can do the work on a separate sheet of paper, right? And then when you come in tomorrow or Friday or Monday, whatever day you happen to come in, right? Because we're starting with the whole staggered start. I'll have this worksheet here. Staple it to it, put your name on the top of it, put it in the homework box. So I use a homework box. It's going to say, I'll show you where they are when you guys are all here. It's pretty easy. It's 4 boxes and it's got your periods on it. So you just find the box with your period and put it in the box. Make sure your name's on it, obviously. And so that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to print it and write it out. You could do it that way and turn that in. And if you are a full digital or full virtual, what you're going to do is you're going to write it out on a separate sheet of paper and then take a photo of that and submit the photo. The other option is in notes, you can actually write on here. The problem is I don't think there's enough room to fit the work. So if you wanted to put the work all over here, it's up to you. If you think you can write it out digitally faster than you can write it out by hand, then go for it. I don't think so. Unless you happen to have a tablet with a stylus that is really accurate, I don't think it's going to be faster, but I'll leave that up to you as long as the work gets done. That's all that really matters to me. So those are the ways. So remember, hybrid students, you are not going to hand stuff in digitally. Only virtual students will hand things in digitally because it's just, I can't count on eSchool always working. The network could be down, could crash on Friday with all the people on it. So that being the case, at least the hybrid students will hand in work in person. I can grade those if the network's ever down, and then wait for the network to get up to then grade the 5 or 6 fully virtual students that we have in the class. So just remember that if you are a hybrid student and you try to turn work in digitally, I'm not even going to look at it. Okay, it's got to be done in the box or turned in person. All right, and that's just for my own personal sanity of trying to figure out. It would be too difficult to see if everyone could do everything, who's turning what in where. Okay, so that's how all this works. So let's go back to Teams. We'll go back to here. Now, does anyone have any questions? So the first question says, if you don't have a laptop, what do you do? Well, you should still be able to watch the videos on my phone. I mean, on my phone, on your phone, or on a phone. You could go to my YouTube channel if you really wanted to. I only have 31 subscribers. You don't need to subscribe, but you can look me up. There's my email right there. That's my school email. I believe that should find me on YouTube, right? And then these are all my videos. So the only issue is going to be you're going to have to figure out which one is which one. So that's one thing. You can always just watch the videos online. And if you look at the videos, the worksheets are typically there. You could just copy them out by hand. I know that is not the most fun way of doing things, but for right now, that's really it. Normally, I would say I could give you 2 days of work every other day, so that way you could have the stuff at home. But right now, I'm literally spending so much time just trying to get caught up because this is a totally brand new system that I don't really have stuff out. I mean, if you come in on Friday, I might be able to give you stuff for like Tuesday if you ask, and I happen to have it out, and I happen to be prepped for that day. But I believe at some point in the year, you guys will probably catch up to my prepping, so I won't be ahead of you anymore, and then I won't be able to give you out stuff because I don't necessarily have it made yet. So because a lot of this stuff has to be fully reformatted for Teams, it doesn't like being on pen and paper. Any other questions? All right, so I am going to end the meet. Make sure that you put your name in the post for the attendance, the specific attendance post. And then I want you to, spend the rest of this period working or trying to work on the math assignment. Okay, that's a good one because you can always just put the work on a separate sheet of paper and staple it together when you get here. So that's not a big deal. So you can just watch the video if you want. And then the math is right there and just follow along that way. And then we are going to do that today, tomorrow, because it's still just 10th graders and I don't have 10th graders. So I literally will have no one in the room tomorrow. So tomorrow's just going to be a check-in. And then I should have half of everybody here on Friday, and then the other half of everybody here on Monday. And then we are going to continue to work on the math assignment on Friday and Monday. And then after that, we'll reevaluate and see what pace and what needs to be done. Hopefully, as this goes on, we'll kind of work out the kinks and figure out how this whole thing works a little bit easier. All right, so that ends it for today. Continue working, and then I will see everybody, I guess, in 2 or 5 days, depending on when you come in.